Your Excellencies, Minister Kikilias and Commissioner Gigikostas virtually. Dear participants, it's an honor to be here this morning among distinguished guests representing the Union of Greek Shipowners. And allow me first to convey our President, Melina Travlos, best wishes for a successful and fruitful conference. She unfortunately could not be with us today, despite her sincere wish to be present. Many thanks to the organizers of the summit for their kind invitation. To begin with, I cannot but make a reference to the extremely difficult times the whole world is going through nowadays. And I'm sure that we are all especially worried and alarmed about the serious geopolitical crisis quickly escalating in the Middle East. We are all hoping for peace to prevail the soonest possible. Ladies and gentlemen, shipping is entering a new era in many respects. The world is changing, energy is changing, economic relations are changing. Constants of the modern world order, including free markets and open trade, cannot be taken for granted. Uncertainty prevails. Changing winds need skillful masters, need skillful captains, but shipping is increasingly being compelled to deal with issues which transcend its sphere of operation or influence. And shipping is too important for the world for it to become an instrument for political gains. Let me share with you some facts. There are currently 110,000 ships navigating the seas globally and carrying 90% of international trade, efficiently, reliably, cost-effectively, and most importantly, safely. More than 12 billion tons of goods are transported annually: food, medicines, energy, raw materials, consumer goods, everything that sustains our daily lives. And let us not forget that there are nearly 2 million seafarers working day and night to keep the world moving. In fact, global seaborne trade continues to rise despite geopolitical conflicts, trade tensions, and other restrictions. A recent study by the World Maritime University and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, showed that if shipping were to halt, the world economy, indeed the entire planet, would collapse within 90 days. But shipping is not only an essential vehicle of the global economy, but also the most efficient transport mode with an impressive environmental record in the reduction of its carbon footprint. While global seaborne trade has grown by 7.4% between 2019 and 2023 in terms of ton miles, the carbon intensity of the global fleet has dropped by 9.7% during the same period. And as a Greek and an EU citizen, it gives me great pride that Greek shipping, with 5,800 ships, represents almost 20% of the global capacity and 61% of the EU-controlled fleet. It holds the first place worldwide in oil tankers and LNG carriers, and the second place in bulk carriers. Its dominance in strategic ship types is even greater at EU level, representing 84% of European oil tankers and 81% of European LNG carriers, as well as 77% of European bulk carriers. With 160,000 port calls in 174 countries, Greek shipping is a strategic asset for the EU and the global leader in serving the economies of the entire world. The current challenges, however, are many and diverse. On the energy transition front, shipping has shown over many decades that it is especially capable in self-regulating. Self-regulation has very successfully been taking place in the interests of energy efficiency and transportation cost reduction. It is also the reason why maritime transport costs have been kept so low over so many decades. But shipping cannot operate sustainably without an efficient and, above all, realistic international regime, regulating the industry in a feasible manner. A patchwork of regional regulations only harms the sector with negative consequences for national economies, world trade, and finally for the end consumer. And in the quest for an effective pathway to decarbonization, shipping needs a workable and fit-for-purpose global targets and solutions to be in place, taking into consideration the industry's invaluable know-how, engaging all stakeholders, such as fuel producers, to contribute their essential input, and always having safety, the safety of seafarers and vessels as the overarching principle. The Greek-owned fleet, with the continuous investments of Greek shipowners, has a lower average age than the global fleet, 12.4 years compared to 13.3, and a lower average age across all main ship types. Greek shipping also remains at the forefront of the sector's green transition, as it continues to be the largest globally in capacity to use alternative fuels, in energy-saving equipment, and in the use of exhaust gas cleaning equipment in terms of deadweight. But shipping is at a crossroads today, facing extreme uncertainty as to what fuel and technologies of the decarbonization age will be. This makes investment decisions very hard, and the risk of ending up with stranded assets especially high. Regulators must therefore ensure a pragmatic and sustainable way forward, sustainable both for the environment and for the shipping business itself. The role played by maritime transport in supporting the global economy is crucial for the sustainability of countries and their people. Without shipping, the import and export of goods on the scale necessary would simply not be possible. In fact, in times of crisis, like the many crises the world has witnessed in recent years, shipping is the only sector that reacts rapidly and effectively, continuing to efficiently deliver its irreplaceable services. The shipping industry's response time to crises, whether these are major geopolitical conflicts like those of today, or localized wars, or international health crises such like COVID-19, is indeed impressive. The industry adapts very quickly to new realities, new trading partnerships, new routes, dealing successfully with restrictions and other adversities in a decisive manner. The end result is that citizens around the world continue to be supplied with essential goods via seaborne trade. So shipping's importance must be safeguarded and not exploited. Shipping should not be used to exert political or economic pressure in trade tensions, as it ensures the transport of all essential goods. Free access to trades without flag discrimination, unilateral, bilateral, or regional cargo reservation, or other forms of protectionism are conditions for healthy and thriving seaborne transport. Moreover, allow me to reiterate that a thriving maritime industry is an immense and irreplaceable asset for a country, for a region, for the EU. Europe's global competitiveness is linked to EU shipping's global competitiveness. And in an era of geopolitical shifts, energy challenges, and fierce global competition, shipping remains a quiet yet powerful force anchoring Europe's economy and strategic economy in the world. We appreciate the European Commission's recent initiatives for a strategic viewpoint of its maritime industry and relevant actions. In this context, we welcome the EU Industrial Maritime Strategy, officially released just yesterday, as an encouraging development in EU maritime policy and the basis for a much-needed, concrete and productive action plan. It is of utmost importance that the EU acquires a holistic new vision for the EU's global competitiveness, and especially for its strategic pillar of shipping. And to this end, a recalibration of the EU shipping regulations to reflect the sector's indispensability, its needs and practicalities is clearly needed. Ladies and gentlemen, we need better regulation, not more regulation. Punitive regional measures put the EU's industries at a significant competitive disadvantage with their international counterparts, especially amidst fierce global competition. Structural changes in international geopolitics and economy, maritime safety, security, and environmental challenges, global versus regional governments, are just some elements that will shape the future of shipping and the shipping of the future. And we must therefore do everything to ensure that shipping remains a vital part of this future. Thank you very much.